This program is coming to you via Relay 2 satellite, a spacecraft orbiting the Earth at a speed of over 17,000 miles per hour.
Xirtus.
Hey, everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarian.
Recent Tartarian. Recent Tartarian.
Join us on another exciting adventure of Xirtus.
But yeah, going from where you're talking about electrostatic gathering around this lake or around this river from the spires, and there's a lot of them. I wanted you to bounce my new idea of how, the lines of communication, how I've been talking about Starfort communication, and how they possibly communicated. Well, I think I got it now. So you remember those líneas de comunicación?
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, well, they have gas and they have mining going on beneath the starforts and huge amounts of tunnels, right? And then I looked up the word gallery because we've seen the word gallery. And a gallery, etymologically, is a long porchway or like a long tunnel, basically. And then I thought to myself, they made pneumatic lances, right? So maybe they are using pneumatic communication tubes. For those long lines of communication. Maybe it's an underground tunnel wherein they can, as they had in London and New York. In London they had I think kilometers of long pneumatic tubes to transport stuff, both letters and merchandise and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's how they did it, because the Tartars were very big on air technology and pneumatic technology, and steampunk was inspired entirely by that culture, I believe. So I definitely feel that's what's going on. They have pneumatic tubes connecting the starforts. That's all what those lines are for. And
look at how many of these lines you got in Ukraine. Like this is the one I filled in, and that's been talked about, that Velikaya Savolstaya. Like all these forts connected by those lines.
Yeah, I would guess that those lines are usually, or some of them were, pneumatic tubes. And then you would have readouts on parts of the lines, and I would guess that those would be perhaps pressure shuts, so as you could shut the air pressure down in certain places with shuts and valves and stuff like that. I could imagine that the readouts are doing that because there's a lot of readouts on those communication lines. So either a form of siphoning, or a pneumatic tube communication. That's what I'm going with, because it fits with what we see the starforts are for. They have all sorts of hydro power going on, and they're doing mining with them. They have long shafts going beneath them, tunneling, and then we see the word gallery of communication inside the starfort, and then you look up the word gallery and it means long tube, basically, if you bend it a bit. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now with the starfort communication.
Well, that was the line that I found so far. Other people found it for me, and I just expanded on it, but this is what the Russian guy did so far. Look at all the stuff that's added. Like,
it's crazy. Just stars everywhere.
Another one of those lines.
Was that a communication line then?
Well, if you click on this, now I have to do that through the internet because for some reason, if you transport the KMZ from map file
to satellite, or
what you get here is like if you click on it, you get a map, but it doesn't
map. Yeah,
it doesn't get any bigger than this.
Oh, so the line is only shown on the old map.
You can see that line here,
but
this is a suspected location. But look at this thing here, how perfectly.
Oh yeah, that would be one of the readout stations where I think you would have like a midpoint to control the siphoning or the pneumatic tubes somehow. I
like how there's random trees in the middle.
Yeah, those trees are probably covering some perhaps gas miner station. Also, could be that they are planted specifically to cover up certain things. I would guess they seem to be orderly placed.
It's scary. Like
Nathan, do you have something interesting cooking for us tonight or this morning?
I do, but I'm digging through my own files to see where I saved these. Archive.org is down for maintenance right now. So
typical.
That's my morning.
Usually lasts about 30 minutes.
I've been trying, so hopefully it'll let me do it.
Okay. So what is the topic you would like to go into, Nathan, when you are able to?
NASA is looking for evidence on the moon to show us what happened to the Earth, which ties into San Francisco.
Okay.
Which ties into Vesuvius, which ties into Antarctica.
So are we like, do we have to reinterpret that statement that NASA is looking on something or studying the moon? Do we have to reinterpret that?
Yes. And in fact, this is information that I've had for some time, but have finally been able to show it in a manner that will make sense to all of this.
Okay, and you said San Francisco as well.
Yeah. I will say that there's... While you can't trust what NASA will tell the media, I feel there's much more validity to reading reports that NASA makes for themselves and each other.
Yeah, I would agree. Have you seen UAP's video on Maniac Science?
Yeah.
Shout out once again.
Was that Drew, Odin's son, who contacted UAP, and he's up for a chat with us.
Wow, that's cool.
Nice. I asked like a month ago, but I suck.
That's what you always assumed, Dave.
You're too hard on yourself.
I watched Static in the Attic this morning, and he's talking about volcanoes now. And he's done 2 or 3. And I watched not UAP, but Wise Up this morning, who says volcanoes.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, I hope they have been watching Britney. Not because I would like to have Britney as like starting something, but just because she's so deep into it. So I hope that they would get a chance to watch Britney's volcanosophy.
Yeah, I like
volcanosophy. I like it.
Yeah,
it's really strange because as soon as we got deep on it, everyone else just came out of the woodworks and said, "Oh yeah, volcanoes."
It's just like that dude from Hungary that sells T-shirts.
Oh, the shark actor thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just not go deep on it and feed his ego, but
Oh yeah, Shagabus.
That's
Hey,
it.
everybody, tune in to Recent
Okay,
Tartarians.
but
Recent
so Nathan, I got my
Snag
answer.
you.
I got my
Recent
answer.
Tartarian.
Should I then start, or Mike? Do you want to show something?
Hey,
I have
everybody,
nothing in
tune in to
particular
Recent
to
Tartarians.
Oh, okay, it's just because that
Recent
I'm
Tartarian.
expecting food at the door within the next 15 minutes, so it may be that I will just have to leave for like
Recent
a minute or two
Tartarian.
to go get
Yeah.
it, and then I'll be back.
That's fair enough.
Okay, but I can then I'll just
I
start
did
screen
promise-
sharing.
Give me 2 seconds. I did promise our good friend Lean
Lynn.
to
Yeah.
show him the Gorgon wall, because he mentioned that to me.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
The Gorgon wall, and I'm like,
It's-
yep, I got it marked out.
Yeah, we
Oh.
went over that a few weeks ago, but never really touched down on it.
Now,
If you're interested in trying
it's
out
not
the foundry,
really Star
visit
Forts and what I found
tartariannova.com.
most interesting about this whole mapping out, because you can just pick this up from a Wikipedia page. It really is that easy. There was no searching involved in this, but what I found interesting is from Fort 22, I think. No, 25. Yeah, 25 on down to the coast. It's all below sea level, like 5-6 meters below sea level. This whole area.
that's interesting.
Um,
So they dammed it up?
Yeah, it's on an old map. You can see the city of Baku, which is here, sitting on the edge of the Caspian Sea, which is now here. So that seems
yeah, and the Caspian Sea changed topography a lot. It was
definitely.
bigger.
This was on the coast of the Caspian Sea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's easily visible. That is a descent, not a it's not going up in elevation, right? From that edge, it's going down.
Yeah, that was a common misconception about this one. This is 60-ish meters up, and then it goes down.
Yeah.
But what I found most interesting is like all these buildings here. Is this inside of the
imprint,
or
no? That could very well be what was the mining operation going on below the fort.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is this like underneath or inside of the fort?
That's very interesting, huh? Didn't notice that the first time I ever watched it.
You got a lot of like old building remains here. But
yeah,
getting back
interesting.
to the Gorgon wall, these forts really look like big squares.
Wow.
It's just remains, right? And it's all marked down in, if you just look up the Great Walls, Wikipedia page, you'll find this being the second longest wall still remaining. This is 195 kilometers, about. And there is no mention whatsoever of this thing, Velikaya Savostaya, which is about 600 kilometers long.
Wow.
There's no mention anywhere of these wow lines.
Oh, it's so neatly defined still. It's, look at that.
And look at how big they are.
Do you think, Nathan, that you could have pneumatic pumps taking sharp edge turns like that?
No. I don't
so that's
think,
a big bust for my
just
theory.
Just a snap judgment. I mean, you can relay the thing, but it requires that you pump that all in one shot. So,
yeah. I hope to once find a book on how Starforge actually work.
There is that one book we found like really early on when we got together. Let me see.
Oh,
what's it called?
I was thinking last night. There is a bisection of a pyramid where they show the base of it, and it's in what you showed me last night about the pyramids at Saqqara, but these are the ones at Giza. And
I'll show those later. So yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I'll just say right now, it looks like a star fort. The base of it, like the true edge, the true outline in one of the photos.
Makes you think of the Blackstone Fortress, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it also adds to my mantra that the star fort builders were the pyramid builders were the lighthouse builders.
Mm-hmm. Tying it all back to one big civilization.
Yeah.
And it
but that was
know
just
what?
it doesn't really matter if you call them the Scythians, the Tartars, the Phoenicians, the Barbars, whatever. It's just more proof of just one really big civilization. That's what I like so much about it.
I want to call them the first dudes.
The first dudes.
First dudes.
Dude.
Or maybe the last dudes before the current dudeship.
Before the current dudeship.
The dudedom.
Honestly, the more I think about this critically and analytically, the more I'm dissuaded from this entire thing, thinking of it as all one. I think we're looking at 4 separate iterations built on the bones of each other and keeping up what they've lost and can't remember how to rebuild and figuring something else out wholly and completely. I'm going to say it right now. I don't think all of this is the same people.
No, I agree.
No.
It may be successive world-spanning empires. So the Tartarian angle may be one iteration of it, but if you space them out in time rather than location, I think there might be 4 distinct empires that have done this. Why do you think we call it 5G? Because we're the 5th that we know.
This will tie in with the root race theories.
That
you have that whole system of Earth is expanding in successive steps, and by each reset, it makes an expansion and grows another ring, as Martin Kenny would put it. People would have to watch that to understand this, but I guess a lot of people do understand this. So yeah.
There's the growing Earth theory and the living Earth theory. Those, I mean, they speak of this quite normally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a strange thing. I don't think the people who built the pyramids are the very same iteration of society that built all the star forts.
Nah, but like that's why I went to this earlier. This one is a copy. The whole city is a copy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this was all built by Napoleon, or ordered by Napoleon.
Supposedly, right?
Yes, but there's plenty of old maps that show this as sea. Den Helder is just a sandbank.
Get out.
There's plenty of old maps that show nothing here. Really. The only thing of Den Helder that was long there is Huisduinen, this little village here.
I wonder if that soil is silicious soil. Because if you were to get a VEI 7 out of Iceland, that could be ash buildup. That whole place.
This has been growing for the last. This was really small. I can only go back to 2005 when I lived here. Like only this piece here, the light colored.
Yeah.
That was visible during low tide. This is high tide.
Okay.
This is one of the strongest currents in Europe, right here.
So it's pushing up sand over there, and you could imagine that current is harnessed by the fort.
Yeah.
because they have underground inlets to let water in. We'll see that later also in the pics I have.
Excellent. But that's just an example of like, this is not an old star fort as in old. Whereas Amsterdam is like really old. You can actually see.
But it's so weird, Mike, that you have these newer or fairly recent star forts in Holland, right? And how hard is it to find out who built them, how they were built, and how long it took?
Very. It's like
why is that?
Hide it from history.
None now live who remember it.
A lot of people know what star forts are. I asked my dad. He was like, "Yeah, I know what star forts are. I heard about them."
Yeah, a lot of people know what they
immediately mentioned Napoleon, right? Mm-hmm. Napoleon. That's the association most people know.
Standard. That's what I got from my buddy as well. It's like, what have you been doing? I've been collecting star forts. Oh, the Napoleon stuff. Yeah, but did Napoleon ever get to Omsk?
Or Japan?
Or Japan? What?
Yeah,
what was he doing in Thailand?
What can you, if anything, can you tell me about Napoleon being in Vietnam?
And if anything, Napoleon is like Jack the Ripper and a Freemasonic character or a mythological historical insertion. They have more examples of that, and he's intimately connected with Egyptian mythology. And he was obsessed with Egypt, supposedly, not only for the riches, but also for the mythological part. There was and Freemasonry is all about Egypt. When you really get into it, you'll only see Egyptian art. You'll see a lot of it, at least. And they all admit they trace back to that master builder race. And as you've seen, my Egypt, Barbar, Tartar conflation video, Egypt is basically the whole key to their narrative. It's their starting point, and the Jews are so intimately connected with it, and the Jews and the tribes of Israel, as we have come to understand, is also connected with the start of what we call the Empire of Tartary. And the funny thing is that when you look at the old maps of Jerusalem, ancient Jerusalem, because there are more than one Jerusalem. There's modern and ancient Jerusalem. And in ancient Jerusalem, you have that big, huge, like emphasis on huge, Temple of Solomon.
This one?
And no, that is not that one.
Not that one. Okay.
That's another Jerusalem.
It's another Jerusalem. I will show you it. I have it in my pic. But one of its sides have star fort bastions on it. So how old is this temple supposed to be? Because Da Vinci is supposedly the inventor of star fort bastions in the 1400s. But you have star fort bastions on the Temple of Jerusalem. So...
yeah, and that castle in Rome. Let me see if
the Temple of Solomon. Sorry, I called it Temple of Jerusalem. Oof, sorry, guys.
This
Temple
castle
of Solomon
was supposedly built somewhere in 300 AD.
Yeah, Castello Sant'Angelo.
Yeah, so what's the star fort doing up underneath it?
That old Mickey Mouse looking star fort.
I have a lot of pictures of that castle, and it goes like full on electricity in the past, and it has a mast antenna, as I call them. It's basically a mast on a ship that is mounted on top of the buildings. I used to notice them when I was studying maritime law, and I was like, yeah, this is a symbol of the Phoenicians and how they have took over the maritime aspect of our law and our finances. But then now I'm like, yeah, that could very well be in a certain aspect, but it's also an antenna. It's gathering electricity somehow. And that mast shape you see is basically one of the shapes that are used for that. Not to say that a mast is... Oh, now the food is coming.
There's the food. Well, Victor is getting the food.
Oh, I wanted him to talk about Moscow, Jerusalem.
Moscow, Jerusalem. Well, oh, I love that bell. Like, my mom's visiting Rome right now. Look at the Wall of Rome.
Man,
That's just part of it. It's just so ridiculous.
it would take thousands of Planet Z zombies to pile over that.
Where's this other picture she sent me? That's like...
Whoops, World War Z zombies. Not Planet Z. Oh, that's killer.
That's why I told her, like, she tells me, I'm going to Italy for 10 days. Anything with a wall, anything that looks like a castle, make a picture.
Oh, I'm here again now.
And welcome back.
Could you hear my...
Yes.
You have a ridiculous doorbell.
It's fairly new, so I'm getting used to it as well.
It sounds like when you open a child's book and it plays a song.
Well, let's just forget that moment, okay?
Nope.
Nope. Too late now. It's all in the recording.
Sigh.
Look at
what was
this
I talking about? I'm totally reset by the bell now.
Moscow, Jerusalem.
Yeah, you were talking
okay.
about Jerusalem, and then I showed the castle in Rome, and that led me to my mother being in Italy. And I told her to take pictures of anything that looks like a really big wall or a castle. And this is Rome.
Yeah, wow. I remember being in Rome. It's just one big mud-flood city everywhere. Also in the old pictures, of course. It's basically admitted. It's common knowledge that Rome was covered in mud and had to be excavated up until the 1900s. So the whole reset thing is totally it's mainstream archaeological knowledge about Rome. So if you Google the Arch of Septimus Sever or the Arch of Titus, just Google those and pictures of those, and you'll see those archways during different timelines, and you can see how it changes from being totally mud flooded to excavated to, and you can also see the people walking by the arches in the 1600s are twice as high as like sometimes 3 times as high as regular people today compared to photos. So the just those arches, Googling those, you can find clear evidence of giants and mud flood.
Crazy stuff, right?
Yep. It's just
all denied and all shoveled away. Look at Egypt. Yeah. Look, it's cool. Egypt. Egyptology. Egypt. Look at Egypt. No other history is important. Look at Egypt. Look, pyramids.
Yeah, and only look at Giza. Forget about all the other sites.
And Egypt was old, and there's nothing under there. Don't worry about it.
It's just sand. They build large pyramids on sands.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where Moses ran away from his stepbrother. So just don't ask. Stop it.
And then he split this whole sea wide open. Like,
Yeah, Moses drowned his brother, if you read that story right.
And then it took him like 40 years to get here. 40 years.
Maybe I should
right? Which means one generation.
It makes more sense if like this here.
Guys, did you want to see the Temple of Solomon as it was?
Yeah,
I'll share your screen. But like, what if Moscow was Jerusalem? Then it makes sense, right? Trekking to the desert for 40 years up to Moscow.
It is funny because there's a temple on the ceiling, and it looks very much to be Moscovian architecture. But this temple is unbelievably tall. It's like this picture cannot do it justice because this palace is unbelievably tall. And here you have the Starfort bastions.
Oh yeah.
So how old are Starfort making really? And it seems to be that if this is the first, or supposedly the most ancient one I've found, and this is the Jews or the Hebrews.
The Hebrew
Not the Jews, the Hebrews.
The Hebrew Jews.
The Jews.
The Hebrew Jews.
No.
What?
But yeah, not to. We have that huge question about the Tartars and the Hebrews and the tribes. So I will let that.
Wait, that's
where is
that
this?
hang there.
Where is this?
This is the Temple of Solomon in ancient Jerusalem.
The map's in Dutch.
Look at those trees.
Yeah, Jerusalem had pine trees, evergreens.
Yep, they did. Nimrod. The story of Nimrod is about all the tree, and that story is a pine tree. So supposedly there were, and you know how the climate changes are dramatic going 500 years back. So
they're dramatic now again. So it's coming back.
But guys, I wanted also to conclude my lands. You remember this mechanism, right?
Yeah.
This was one of the mechanisms. It was without the coil. And so I found out that, this first. This is a Tartar king. And he's having a badass lance. Isn't that cool? And look how he's like, those knobs on his, what's that called?
Wine cones?
Cape,
exactly. That's pretty cool. He looks like Count Dracula, kind of Transylvanian Dracula or something. I don't know. But he has a lance, and what they are is a wind gun basically, and this is a syringe to fill in air, and these are shuts and valves to control the pressure.
Yeah, that's what we got on when you first showed that. we were talking about blow the lance.
Yeah, and I showed this to Richard and Philip, but here is the kicker, because it's right here in this amazing book that I found and sent to Martin a while back. It's called Mathematical Magic. It's written in the 1600s by an English aristocrat, and it's just a wealth of knowledge. I'll have to send you that, Nathan, afterwards, because it contains basically the whole tech theory of the 1600s and all they did. But yeah, going into the pneumatic lens, it says that there were wind guns, and I will quote him: "I cannot here omit, though it be not altogether, to mention that late ingenious invention of the wind."
Hey, we're losing you, Victor. We lose Victor?
Victor? Well, snap. I'll just read it for him. And Isaac. What? And God said to his firstborn.
Turd.
I can't remember the quote, or it would have been way better.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I think.
And God said to Abraham, "You shall kill your firstborn."
Okay, let's actually take this serious. Ingenious invention of the wind gun, which is charged by the forcible compression of air being injected through a syringe.
So they used an early bike pump.
Yeah.
Trap the air.
The strife and distension of the imprisoned air, serving by the help of little valves or valves, probably, or shuts within to stop and keep closed the vents by which it was admitted. The force of it in the discharge is almost equal to our powder guns. I have found upon frequent trials, Fate Mercenas, that a leaden bullet hot from one of these guns against the stone wall, the space of 24 paces from it, will be beaten into a thin plate. It would be a considerable addition to this. There went Victor. Aww. We lost Victor.
But I have just looked up the reference book.
Good.
And I'm going to read it.
You're just going to read it, right? In that case, I will present.
Yeah, not at the moment. Oh, right now?
And Victor's gone. We lost Victor. Net crash.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's been happening a lot lately.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm almost there. I'm looking up Phenomena Pneumatica, which is the book wherein he references what we just saw.
The internet is dying. Victor's back.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Welcome terug.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
welcome back.
So my mic is fine?
Yep.
Okay. Where did you lose me?
As soon as you started reading.
and then I finished it till you really dropped out.
Okay, so you finished what I marked. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I guess then I'll just carry on from there. Or unless I'm
finished.
breaking something.
Nope, no, you're not.
Okay. I'll get on with it then.
Present to everybody. There we go.
I would like to. So I guess I'll. Did I have another thing? No, I think I mentioned the pneumatic tubes from the staff, the lines of communication. I just wanted to have everybody see what I mean.
Yeah.
So these are called lines of communication, and they connect the starports, and I believe that they are somehow sending physical material through these.
Where your mouse is now, it says the same in Dutch. Linie van communicatie. It's bilingual. You still with us, or did we lose you again?
Oh no.
No, we lost Victor again. The internet is dying. And back to presenting Star Wars. Man, we love Tuesdays, don't we?
Yeah.
Everything goes right on a Tuesday. Oh, I found 40 years of walking from Cairo to Moscow makes a lot more sense. 40 years of walking
Really?
from Cairo to Bethlehem. Not really.
Right.
And if you have your Jerusalem in Moscow. But I liked your earlier idea on several civilizations you're looking at, and then people finding the remains and trying to do something useful with them.
Honestly, unless they came to it independently at the same time, I can't see any other way.
By 100 monkey effect, you could explain that. If you tell one monkey how to build a star fort, all the other monkeys will eventually figure it out. And welcome back again, Victor.
I have to use my phone for the internet right now.
Oh crap!
It's going on in the air, causing a lot of downtime. I guess I'll just try again, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did I go? Yeah, lines of communication. And the last thing I heard you say, Mike, was where you have your mouth right now, and then I went.
Oh, it was all I said basically was it's a bilingual map. The text on the top right says linie van communicatie, which is Dutch. That linie van communicatie. It's that's the one.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, good observation. I feel these are pneumatic tube lines, but I could very well be wrong, and I would love to hear people's take on this and how they are using these for communication, supposedly over long distances.
Yeah,
I
got nothing solid for you. Other than
I could see it if
you first.
If you could just go gatehouse to gatehouse, then you just relay straight line pneumatic communications. So it's still doable.
Yeah. I think this angle I would like to explore that angle and see if you could find like tube lines going from the starforts, at least from the base of the starfort outwards. That would be cool if we could find those.
Well, what would that look like? It would look like a ventilation shaft after a while.
Probably would, yeah.
Without any talk or illustration on the development or use of such things, it would have to remain in the realm of idea.
Unfortunately, yes. But here's a knight, and you look at this size. What do you think?
He big.
And he's wearing a large golden or gilded crown, or also this like gilded. It's weird, golden stuff on his armor, and then he's just very large. Philip and Richard was like pondering whether, because of the armory, people like to think that this is all propaganda, because you couldn't wear armor like that, and you didn't use these things to poke each other with having this armor, just as like the lance showed that the idea of right here poking stakes is ridiculous. So this could very well be propaganda for people who knew about giants.
And the dragon fights the two-headed griffin. I'm looking at the sigils.
Where do you see the dragon?
Top right.
Oh, Nathan, you have a keen eye. I didn't even notice that.
And what you're looking at is two kings, I think, or princes. But you see the one with the lance killing the enemy, who is marked out in red, and then you have another prominent knight, and both onion head crowns.
Yeah, and I've seen, if you go into Russian military history, you'll see that their helmets are like, you cannot distinguish between a mushroom dome and these helmets. When you get close into the details, it's like they're wearing small or miniature mushroom domes on their heads.
Andreas will like that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks right here, if you're just going to use this image to tell the story, that one knight was besieged and another commander, lord, or king came to his rescue. And that would be the one on the horse, because you see he's off of his horse. He's shown prominently. He's in the thick of battle. And what happens? Cavalry comes. What's interesting is these two knights in the back, and how one of them just has a club.
Oh, yeah.
And
then this club, Nathan, right, is seen on the coat of arms on many places. For instance, the Danish royal family's coat of arms, it carries two Hercules standing side by side wearing these clubs, and it's always giants. These giant, you'll see them in the old carousels in Paris in the 1660s and stuff like that. You have giant people walking around with these clubs.
Yeah, and what is the shillelagh? It's blackthorn oak.
What do you mean?
The shillelagh, the old stubby shillelagh, but not a dick joke. Actual blackthorn oak, being one of the hardest woods ever. You could verifiably use a shillelagh in any theater of melee.
Isn't it
and
called
it'll stand up?
Isn't it called Adel? Adel?
Could also be that. I mean about the Irish idea for the cane club shillelagh or baton. Later used for police, it became the constable's baton, and it wasn't actually Irish to start.
Why are you going
it's
off
an
of
Irish thing now.
buzzwords, Nathan? It's fun. It's so scary how you're like in my you're in my consciousness sometimes. It would seem, because I'm going to show you a dagger right now, or a baton.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah.
You know what's really weird? In Idawara, Japan, they had things like this. They were a bit longer, and they didn't want to take lives.
Wow.
So they would actually use rubber swords with a handle much like this. And just
my German is rusty, so I would like to get German translating this. But basically, it's like a non-lethal weapon, I would guess, that you can probably push this button and it extends. It could also be very lethal, I'm not sure, but it doesn't look to have this pointy edge. And basically, this guy is having something that is akin to what we were seeing there, I think. Look at that. And it has the roundy point and could very well have a lot of buttons on it. So I'm thinking this could extend, like, imagine because of this long shaft, maybe he could push a button and like out would stick with immense force a metal spear or something. It would be cool. This is an Hindu monarch, I think.
look at that. Zoom out just a little bit.
Oh, they have them, and this guy also had one. Is that a mushroom dome? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So they're
Note
carrying
to
it
self, and note to anyone listening later, that looks like a circus horse. I should look into the origin of the circus.
Well, the circus, the word comes from circle and Circe. Basically, the word for church also has the same root, circle, and so yeah, maybe that would get you a clue.
We have some standard decoration template for circuses, and I don't know where that comes from.
No, those tents could very well be inspired from the Tartar tents.
Yeah, they're nomadic. They have a ringmaster. They show things from all the world, wonders. I wonder how it got as big as it did.
It's like freak shows. They used to show giants as well.
Yeah, Cirque du Soleil.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we get all this iconography?
This is basically a circus, Nathan.
Wow, there we go.
You're stringing together all the buzzwords I've selectively chosen for tonight. It's crazy, Nathan.
I'm just reaching 5 minutes into your future.
Yeah. Look at also giants here. Supposedly, unless the artist is a fool, and they are walking horses on lines and caress.
Behold the strength of our masts.
Yeah, I laughed a bit when I saw this as well.
You can fit 2 horses and a carriage on this mast. This mast, weaker, but the ladies love it.
This is just too hilarious.
And like, are these like surfing on the line? It looks like they're standing on like some board or something, and they're playing music whilst doing it. Like, what is this? But I think this is like a water circus. Yeah, that would be my guess, because he's carrying sables and you have that middle flag and pole and what Nathan just described, and nomadic people wearing their nomad hats.
Nomad. I'm a nomad. I have a nomad hat. Do you have a nomad hat?
Hey, will you take me to the top left? What is that tower in the top left?
But Nathan,
I just
Don't ruin it.
Okay, you say stuff and then I'll say stuff at the end.
Stop ruining Victor's presentation, Nathan.
Okay, you ruined
It's
it.
just so exciting.
I'm sorry for the poor quality, but this is like a very cool pagoda. I just wanted to get it in.
Yes, it is.
And
Nathan spotted it earlier.
Yeah, did you hear what Nathan said about that pagoda? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, well, I'll move on.
Wait, can we go back? I was actually waiting. Why does that all look like marshland? Outside.
Because this is basically a sanctuary city, I would guess. And it looks like to have this huge garden, so hence sanctuary city.
It's a bit. Is it in India?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is this maybe the origins of the Taj Mahal?
I can find the source for this pic, so don't let us not speculate. The reason why I'm going through unsourced material is because I perhaps download 100 images a day like this sometimes, and for me to keep doing that, I cannot source immediately all the material. I probably should do that, but that's a project for a later time. I have all the sources, so don't worry. But if you want to see them, go to the Foundry and go through our Discord and reach out to me. I can show you stuff. But right now we're organizing, and so yeah, we'll do it a little bit on the surface right now. Some things I will dig deeper into, but I don't have the time to dig deep into everything. Unfortunately, I wish I had. But yeah, so no more disclaimers. This is a mechanical press.
I see it. That's cool.
I would guess that you could have either manually or by some other force. You could have like two men. Either I don't know if they would like spin it. It seems to be spinning like this part, and that would press it. Yeah. So and I just love how they infuse the artwork in these machines. It's just so amazing.
I was about to say, right? The extra. Damn.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I lost what I wanted to say. Anyway, exquisite detail in the machine.
I agree.
It's something you don't see nowadays. It's all flat and angles and.
But this we will get into now is very exciting. You've seen this. It's too big, so I have to open it in Paint. Okay, I think you know what it is when you see like some of the You remember now?
Now, Brittany, breathe in and breathe out.
Good. I'm glad we're on to this.
I wanted to just leave it here, and Nathan, you can walk us through what you're seeing.
You showed this about a week ago, and the first thing I noticed was that learning from Natural Geyser, they had attempted to recreate this. They already had the Athenor, so they already had the tools. And so they created this on a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
And this, as soon as I saw this and recognized what it was, the first thing I said was, you should get this over to Philip, because this supports his gas mining theory.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I showed him
Did you?
A couple of days ago when I talked to Richard on connecting the dots, but that is not edited yet, so it's up and coming.
Awesome. So yeah, learning from the Natural Geyser, they had attempted to recreate it. And one of the things that I had initially seen was that this was a mass water heating system. Another thing is a giant athanor. So if you're going to mine gas, you're going to need to separate these gases. And so I would expect more and more chambers. Also, the feed from natural water would have to be pumped into this. The fact that it goes under the city is incredible.
Yeah, and do you remember how the pyramids were built like arcs? How are they formed? Much like this. If you had a pyramid up here, that would be the arc. And then you would have the ground here, and this would be underground. So it could be that what we're watching, Nathan, right? This is ground level. And this is indeed underneath. And notice this thing right here. This is the shape of water containers. They have a V shape because that is the perfect shape for storing water, according to the weight and in height. So this could be like a subterranean reservoir, or this could indeed also be a very giant tower, and the ground level is down here. But either way, this athanor is supplying this station or tower or city with energy.
Yeah, at the very, very least, it is supplying it with clean distilled water.
At the very least, yeah.
Yes, because we've seen distillation machines.
Oh, you will see them. You will see them, Nate.
Quite a bit.
You'll see them later.
Now, if, say you have this mass water distiller or athanor or gas separator, anything like this, you can then take the feed or the runoff and pipe that to different parts of the city, pipe that to different cities, which is what Mike and I first surmised when we were looking at the long lines that he'd shown.
Oh, yeah.
We had thought that those were obscured, deliberately obscured gas lines. But we had thought, or gas or oil, if they're there from antiquity, then we can verify with greater accuracy the uses of devices like this. Another thing, by the way, if these geysers go up and you'd like to relieve the pressure on your own, drill straight into it and have your own bleed-off valves.
Yeah. And depending on what is coming up through the ground, you could have these things if they ever blow up, or if someone closed them off, like as we hear Alexander the Great supposedly did for a great Tartar volcano, where the Tartars ordered him to come and basically seal it off as a lid. And I would think that there was a pressure buildup and that volcano exploded eventually. So it's not that smart to do, I feel. Because if some of these go wrong, I feel that this is the result. You get a volcano. You get a geyser or a volcano. This is like could be the remains of some of these structures. So also because if you look in magma chambers, they basically have this shape. Some of them I saw, Brittany showed me a magma chamber, and it had like that oval shape on the top, and then it had a very neatly placed tube going up in the middle of its ceiling. So I was thinking, why subforce, you know? And so my theory is that some of these, if indeed giant subterranean athanors were used and built, as we could get a clue from also Kircher's Subterraneous world, these could be the precursors to volcanoes.
Did you send me the text that this came from? I remember.
Unfortunately, Nathan, this was a single image. Very unfortunate. And that's some of the. It's cool to surf archives, but sometimes you feel a bit like when you hit a wall and you cannot get any further, like and find the source. Then it's not that fun because you only have the visual material sometimes. And I would love to read what's going on here, because to me, Nathan, there's also something else going on in these pigs, and that is the harnessing of atmospheric electricity and turning that into hydrothermal energy. It would seem from this pig. Look at that. You have fire from the clouds, and that is supposedly going into the Aethanor here, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure, but I would think that this is like harnessing somehow the electrostatic potential. I don't know, maybe through the water. Look, the water perhaps carries the charge.
If you heat up the atmosphere, it's going to rain.
They're talking about stratification of the clouds right in here, and how heat stratifies and separates. They're trying to bust the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Okay, that's it. I'm talking about HARP today.
Good.
That's
okay.
I've been waiting for you to do that.
We have to move on, because otherwise we'll get lost. So this is the same thing. Lucerna subterranea, so a giant Aethanor or heater, and it is connected to, I don't know what this is though. The Enfons Petrole? Could this be, oh no, could that be petroleum?
Petrolei?
a petroleum fountain. Yeah.
Well, it does say the Igne Subterraneo, so the subterraneous fire machine.
Wait. Underground stone.
Underground fire machine.
This so ties into what
Igne?
Brittany's been saying about
Igne
oil.
is like ignite.
Yeah.
Igne.
Again, Brittany, breathe in, breathe out.
And look at this. Ignis Perpetui. Perpetual fire. And that's a thing in that mathematical magic book I mentioned. There's a whole chapter on perpetual motion in that book.
Whoa. Go back up to the words real quick. Move your mouse to the right. Thanks.
You can see this is cursors.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, volcanoes and oil.
We will see petroleum-like
so
substance. Sorry,
they're sealing this. In this perpetual fire experiment, they're sealing the top of this with bitumen and inflammable liquid.
So that's petroleum, yeah.
So my theory on Mount St. Helens gap being too strong might just hold up.
Oh, they're talking Kircherus.
Yeah, that is the
funny.
altar. That's the altar.
Yeah.
Kircher. So he is the author of this amazing book, and he was supposedly the last knowledgeable man in his age, according to some of his peers.
So they're talking about siphoning something found naturally and piping it into a man-made container, and the flame never ends. So essentially a bleed-off tank.
So you could see how some of these giant structures, if they indeed are giant, I would guess they are, could be what is fueling the magma chambers of today. Like the ongoing chemical process of the degradation of perhaps some of these substances in the aftermath of a catastrophe could perhaps perpetually fuel. Like you have that hellhole in, what is it, Saudi Arabia?
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, sorry.
There's another one in Russia too.
Yeah, Kazakhstan.
Yep.
You have to be Geography.
Yes, I have to be
geographically specific.
Yes, I have to be a geographic Nazi.
Thank you, because I paint the world in broad strokes. When I say Russia, I mean whatever you just said. But I remember reading about it.
Well, to be fair, I gave Russia and Kazakhstan their own folder because, you know, Kazakhstan, big empty desert.
Oh, did I show you this one last time, or have I shown you this? So this is the machine. This is a very ancient. I'm not sure if it's stamp or woodcut, but the machine to go without asses. So this is yeah.
The lady and gentleman seem to be having a lot of people.
It's basically allegory and caricature, but I would like to think that they had some way to power chariots other than steam. Also,
look at the wheel.
It is
the back wheel says America. The front wheel says Great Britain and Ireland.
Magna Carta, Magna Chart.
Magna Chart.
But who is what is the badge on that guy who's being run over? You see his chest? The middle guy. Yep. Because you have the philosopher's cap, and I think this man was a part of a society. Could be the Royal Society.
This could indeed be John Locke. Or this guy could be John Locke. He has that pointy nose. It could be Hobbes, John Locke, and Russell, some of the famous British philosophers, but I don't know the time right now when this is supposed to be. Could be, you know, Hobbes is very early, so one of these guys could be Hobbes. I don't know. Leviathan, you know.
This invention flies in the face of everyone who said it couldn't be done. This is a good picture.
Well, yeah, it's a good to at least have the idea whether they had some sort of motion for chariots. Oh, this one is a good one. You remember the light ships, right? They had that atmospheric ball, and this is in Moscow or St. Petersburg, and it has the exact same thing. And it's an atmospheric electricity gatherer. We know this from the common atmospheric electricity science. They use these. I can't remember what they're called. But Ahura Mazda assured me, and he is he knows a lot about electricity and works with it. These are atmospheric electricity gatherers. Pretty neat. I would have to ask him to know what they're called right now. I'm sorry. And here you have like a mercury ball, I would guess, or a bronze ball mounted on this very steep
That's a crazy steeple.
Yeah. And it's in Russia somewhere. Maybe somebody can read that. But yeah, it looks like France also. This looks like the sky. It also has another tower here with the same going on. That's just crazy beauty. And this is a wonder. This is an absolute wonder.
Nice.
This is Toscana in the 1600s. And look at these. Can you hear them?
You know what's crazy about this? Those lines don't signify night, they signify a haze.
So you think miasma illumination again?
I think that they zoom out. On first glance, this looks like a possible ceremony to try to assuage whatever gods sent the miasma plague.
You can see
sulfur
Atlas.
dioxide air. Yeah, holding the constellation or the zodiac.
The celestial sphere. And you have Virgo and Libra and Scorpio here, and Leo and Cancer. Pretty awesome pick. And they had these large, not expositions, but they called them carousels.
It looks like a circus.
Around. Yeah, it's circus. As I said, the etymological root is circle. Look, think about what they do. The Muslims are doing in around the Kaaba.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it mentioned America, Asia, and Africa. It's something about maybe comparsa, Principe di Toscana. The cavalry,
The solar and the lunar sequence.
so they maybe I think they're showing different military outfits.
They are, yeah, from Europe, America, and Africa.
Yep.
Like Ari del Sole el de Luna Seguito is probably the solar and the lunar sequence.
Why is it always in a language that none of us are native in?
Cavacieri?
No teatro conguito a palazzo.
Palazzo is palace.
Yeah. But we get I think we get the basic idea. So this is a form of exhibition. And Baghdad batteries.
In the fireplace.
Hey, that is nice.
That isn't it's not nice in the old sense of the word nice. It's not foolish, but it's cool. Sorry.
Real square.
Yeah. But free Baghdad batteries, right? Doesn't they look like Baghdad batteries?
They are, yeah.
Isn't it interesting how they sit in the quote unquote fireplace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in their charge port, their wall port.
And don't think about this room. It's meaningless.
Yeah, they did that because they had so much time, and you know there was no disease, and everyone pooped in really nice toilets.
Yes, this was shown by Sylvie Ivanova, and this is an atmospheric electricity gatherer of modern time, and you can see that crescent that you have on this the finials on many of the mushroom dome churches, and here you have your. Ahura Mazda explained to me that when you're working with dielectricity, basically magnetism, white light, and the longitudinal waves, then you need a greater area surface to have the energy gathered, and that is opposed to the transverse waves of electricity and color light. They don't need that. They don't require the greater aerial surface. I'm not an expert, so I'm just parroting here.
Yeah, when I was looking into pipe organs, I came across how to funnel both sound and electricity through these onion shapes. And that's when I first learned of their importance. There's a distinct ratio of the bottleneck top to the size of the ball.
Yeah, you can also see how it looks like. I would guess that you could do some Fibonacci golden means mathematics with this, but I may be wrong.
Well, what's really funny about that specific shape for electricity is that the rules for sound with a closed top or an open top dome like that are identical.
That's interesting.
It was back when I was looking into the resonance of structures, the acoustics.
Yeah.
Rules are the same. The medium hardly changes the rules in that respect.
No, okay. Very interesting. I have to also quicken the pace, I guess. This is about subterranean forests in the UK, and this is basically a mud flood proof par excellence.
Mm-hmm.
In the years 1708, a breach made by the Thames, an extraordinary high tide, inundated the marshes of Dagenham and Havering in Essex. Such was the impetuous rush of the water that a large passage or channel was torn up 300 feet in width, and in some parts 20 feet in depth. In this way, a great number of trees, which had been buried there many ages before, were exposed to view, with one exception, that of a large oak, having the greatest part of its bark and some of its beets and roots in a perfect state. These trees bore greater resemblance to alder than any other description of wood. They were black and hard, and their fibers extremely tough. Not any doubt was entertained of their having grown on the spot where they now lay. And they were so numerous that in many places they afforded steps to the passengers. They were embedded in a black oozy soil, on the surface of which they lay prostrate with a covering of gray mold. That was very weird, I thought to myself. I did not understand whatever they meant here.
So this is just like peat bogs, just like any marshland. They used to explain. Yeah, they used to explain oil began like this, and then sediment built and built and built on it for millions of years, and whatever, blah. But you know what's interesting about that? This just happened again.
They just found another site for this. Philip showed me.
Yeah, I heard about this about a week ago. It happened a couple years back, but they had no clue that a forest was even there.
Yeah, and some of the bases of the roots were petrified, but not all of it were petrified. It was interesting. But yeah, I also wanted just to cover that they're talking about how they found seashells as well in this place, and they're contemplating whether this happened after or before the flood. But as well in these levels as in other parts of Great Britain where these subterraneous forests have been discovered. So there are numerous of these forests. I'll send you these so you can read them, Nathan, this book as well.
Thank you.
It's called Geological Changes of the Earth, so it's very much on topic.
Any American will have an American correlation for this as well. We have the Everglades and the swamps out here in America and in Louisiana and all that. And there was a massive flood which essentially drowned counties. And like I used to say, Florida used to be mountainous. There was a time when there were mountains in Florida. And given how thick the crust of this place is, it is not even it's not even a large thing to think that a portion of the crust could elevate by a mile or could sink by a mile, given that you have to get so far down to get to the water, or in some cases the magma. What am I looking at?
This has been I sent this to Martin. It's found in a collection of images called if you go on Gallica and search illustrations, it's one of the first books coming up. It's made by a French guy who collected the stamps of that age in the mid 1800s, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. But this I sent to Martin, and he basically called this the comet critter.
They call it the Tarrasque, right?
Yeah, this is the Tarrasque.
It's a
the La Promenade de la Tarrasque. This is the place, I think. But Martin's idea was that this was a comet. That the idea of comet being like these metal balls that humans actually make and then somehow fire them into the sky. It's a bit out there, right? But I like the idea at the time. I have no clue still what this is.
You guys heard of Dungeons and Dragons, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share my screen for just 1 second. That's a Tarrasque.
Looks like a tyranid.
That's basically the creature that comes to kill the Earth. Sort of the
Godzilla.
Yeah, sort of that. Godzilla.
Huh, and Tartarus, Tarrasque, Tarrasque of the Earth. And you know how the Tartars, they were Saturnian, so they like Capricorn, and Capricorn rules the cardinal Earth. So
that's a Hormagon.
So I have still no clue what this is. But it could be like a dragon, like a fireworks dragon. And they somehow got this to fly or stand somewhere, and these spikes could perhaps be the outlets for the a lot of fireworks, I would guess, because this is in an exposition, so you know how they did things in the expositions, and it's a party, of the sun of the Palace of Industry. So I guess that this is going to produce a show somehow for the people. So, and I have other examples of dragons being built by the pyrotechnics, the pyrotechnical crews. They built dragons, and then they would have them fly over lines, and the dragons would spew fire, exactly like the idea you see in the first movie of Lord of the Rings, where you have that giant fireworks dragon coming over the Shire. They did that. This is bioluminescence. I just thought that was so cool. It's from the same collection of Cradavius engravings. And this is so... I have never heard of bioluminescence to this scale. And somehow these bacteria are forming an X and a ring. I have no clue.
There are bioluminescent beaches.
Yeah. I've been to many.
Those?
I've been to many. In Costa Rica, it's so wonderful. I loved it. But this is on a scale I have never witnessed or heard of before. It's like in the Life of Pi movie, where he's out in the middle of the ocean and the whale jumps out of the water, and it's just a whole array of colors meet your eye. And also, somehow mushrooms in France were very large during comet storms. There's a book saying that a comet went over somewhere in the Ardennes, I think, and out of the ground came very large mushrooms.
These dudes actually look like they're shielding their eyes from something, right?
Yeah.
It looks like from spores.
It could be a spore explosion. Could be a spore explosion. To me, it also looked actually as bioluminescence as well, because we know how subterranean shrooms can be bioluminescent. So, and I would think that this dark place could perhaps harbor some bioluminescent species. And comets had the ability to cause mushroom growth, and it's very mysterious. I know it's reported in history. So it's not something I'm making up. These are Caucasians, so they're Tartars, and look how they ride their horses.
Standing up on them.
This is a Circassian guy, I think. They have the hairstyles of that. The Danish soldiers protecting the queen, they carry those bear hats, I think they're called, I'm not sure, that resemble these guys. So it's one of the things that really connect the Danish monarchy with Tartary.
That looks great.
Yeah. And also to note that a lot of historians actually identify time, or the time this was created in, by how the horses were created, because they say they didn't know horses they actually group their legs whilst in midair. They don't jump like this, and they say they didn't know this up until videography, that you could have that you could see the horses doing this. So, but I have found ancient pictures of horses jumping with grouped legs as well. So I think the camera obscura could have witnessed this. And we're just talking about this is just after a reset where people didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been known before. But historians usually say that this is a way to identify the time by the horses. They don't jump like this. They group their legs. Okay, yeah. And here is a carousel again, but it's pretty weird because these monks are carrying... They must be very strong, I guess, because they're carrying lamps, like street lamps. And so yeah, it's a procession. Sorry, not a carousel. And maybe these are just antiquitech devices, but they resemble street lamps. Like they are street lamps, I would have to say, if it quacks like a duck. So
Quack quack.
And here's the Temple of Solomon again. And this is an ancient exposition-like building. So when we talk about the expositions, some people would like to think that they were built in the 1800s and 1900s and so on. But we can clearly see that these types of buildings could be built by the 1600s people. This is not the Crystal Palace, I know, but these large structures, long and wide, as you see on many of the expositions, it looks exactly like this. And I would guess this could be glass involved here, and steel and iron as you would have. But yeah, it's basically the same style as you would see in the Pan American Exposition and St. Louis and Chicago. And this is a giant man on the edge of the Mount Athos in Macedonia. I think it's current day Greece, but the ancient Macedonia
of this
Water
right?
bearer.
Yeah, the water bearer man on the Mount Athos, supposedly built by Alexander the Great, or the people of his, of course, not by himself. But yeah, you can see
shit.
And these guys, they don't kid around. They meant it. This guy was here. This was built. This was resting on the Mount of Athos.
Same with what's the dude over the harbor?
The
Titan of Colossus of Rhodes.
Yes, Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, it could be this basically the same character, but yeah, my point here, and I want to drive this home, that this is not fantasy history. This is actual reported history, and it's a wonder that this guy didn't make it into the Wonder of the Worlds, or did he? Did he? I'm not sure. Did he?
Who says there were originally only 7 wonders of the world, right?
But that's what we're given, right? We have
exactly.
I can't remember right now if he was included.
Yeah, and who chose those?
My point about the 7 wonders is that they would like to have you think that these wonders were unique things, and yeah, wonders implying that, right? But I think they were a standard. Like this was the technology of the day. This was the things they pursued, all of the different nations. And they would have hanging gardens and Babylon towers, right?
Yeah. The pyramids of Giza, and then the 80 pyramids in China in just a very small area.
Oh, in Bosnia.
A pyramid in Bosnia, pyramids in Sudan.
Mike, could you do me a favor and just quickly Wikipedia the 7 wonders of the world and just check if this guy is included? He's called Giant of the Mount of Athos, I think. Or he's at least sitting on Mount Athos in the Macedonia, ancient Macedonia, and I think it's current day Greece. So yeah, there's the Pierre Vanderhaar Atlases has another depiction of this guy.
Statue of Zeus at Olympia.
Yeah, Jupiter statue, yeah.
And the Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, this is not that guy.
No, he's not there.
He's not there. So how could he not be included in the wonders of the world is my question. It's just so weird. It's like they didn't, it's reported history, but look the other way, right? Look the other way. This is gorgeous, and the word gallery pops up here. These are called again, galleries, because there would be symbolical pictures on, I guess, the coffins and such. So it's weird, right? We have the gallery of communication inside the Star Force, and here you have underground cemeteries, and they're called galleries. But basically, a gallery is a long portico, according to
a hallway, like
a hallway, yeah, but
an
it's
indoor
also
version of a promenade.
Exactly. So yeah, but look at this. This has like a very big arch here. It's going up to this. I found that interesting. And there's a structure here. It looks to have an aerial. And it looks very much to be like Starfort like layers.
What is this from? Do you know?
It's one of my many books.
Give me that book.
Oh my god.
I know. You should just give me all your books.
Sorry. Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah. So this I showed to Naya, and she was very pleased. This is an old mound in France, and it says Fabrication de Vin. So they're making wine.
Wine factory.
A wine factory, yeah. Just have this in mind when you're seeing these. These could be wine factories, but
oh,
I guess...
nice! It's terraced, so you can grow on this whole thing and use so little land.
Mm-hmm.
Shitloads of vines.
Agriculture level master.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agriculture level. I will build a pyramid for my wine production.
My wine deserves a temple.
And yeah, how ancient is wine?
Not as old as yak's piss. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna forget that very quickly. So moving on. This is Roman.
I remember reading about.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, sorry. I remember reading about the Akkadians or the Chaldeans, but continue. Show me this chariot.
Well, yeah, you have basically seen it. I have no clue. Basically, this is still a single image I found as well, and I was like, yeah, inner mechanisms. I love that, but what for this time? Is this? You see, this is out to water, right? And this is the same. This is the same mechanism. So what are they telling you here?
It looks like desalination.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, sorry for saying yeah. I'm just saying yeah sometimes when you're talking, Nathan. I have you saying desalination based on.
Look. Based on that goblet and that dropper going into it.
So you think like okay.
A process of taking salt water and making fresh water.
Okay, so you're Caesar, right? You're being carried on a chariot, and then somehow this thing is going out to water, right? And then you tell your soldiers to go fix you a cup of water, and then they they open the door in the hull of the ship and pulls up this glass, and he drinks a water. Is that what you're saying?
If I was Caesar, I'd be a dick and I'd want a cold drink. I mean. I don't know how else to look at it.
What if it's a clean water filter?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's
like
just
not just desalination, but like purification. These high and mighty folks were well aware of the importance of water.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the famous story about the guy who killed his own falcon, who was trying to warn him of a dead donkey upstream from him. Remember that?
No.
Oh. Okay, well, a famous Khan is riding, and he's weary from the battle the days before, and he comes across a stream. And this stream leads to a waterfall, and he dips his cup into the stream, and he goes to take a drink, and his own falcon comes to him and swoops down and knocks the cup from his hand. And he does it a second time, and the falcon knocks this cup from his hand. And he pulls out his sword, and he scoops a third cup from the stream, and the falcon comes down to swoop it from his hand, and he slashes out and he kills this falcon. He's so enraged at the loss of his prize bird that he doesn't even drink from the stream. He continues on. And later that day, he comes across the same stream upstream, and he finds that a dead horse or ass, one of the two, a dead horse is bleeding into this stream, and the falcon saved his life. It's an old story about the importance of fresh water.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah,
there you
okay.
go.
Wow. That was lovely. This is an orthographic view of Starfort, or at least a fortification. Here it takes in water here. We see Architectura Hydraulica. And these are the characterizing mushroom like redoubt towers on the Starfort we're seeing all everywhere, and they have mercury balls, some of them on top. So yeah, Starfort, and you could see how the water could power all sorts of mechanics. And if you think about the turning forts, you could very well have water powering these cogs and wheels to make it turn, and that turning could perhaps power something else. So yeah, when you amplify and multiply screws and grinds and gears and stuff like that, the guy's point in mathematical magic is that you could theoretically move the entire Earth by multiplying screws and pulleys and levers. But yeah, it's theoretically possible. I guess every mechanical engineer knows this, but it's just amazing to think about. And they basically, yeah, when you're a master at mechanical engineering, as these guys were, this was what you wanted to amplify the pulley, screws, and levers, and have smooth operation. And then you could scale it up to those scales that we previously thought to be unimaginable. Like, people ask themselves, how did they move the giant stones of Stonehenge? And I'm like, guys, hello.
The famous Pilates guy, Charles Atlas, is the name of the Pilates guy from back in the day. And he said, give me a lever long enough and I'll lift the world.
Yeah.
It was like a famous quote of his.
But I would say amplify enough levers and I could lift the world. But yeah. These are called modillions, and you will see them on the side of architecture. And if you guys look up what a volute pump is, I guess Nathan knows what that is, a volute pump. You could see that this is an architecture book, and you have that canalis here. It goes straight into this. So I'm basically inferring from that this is a channel and it's hollow inside, and it's a volute pump. You see here, volute pump? But they called them volutes.
The fourth word, abacus, canalis, cymatium.
Astragalus.
What's
astragalus?
Okay.
Yeah, it's maybe we're gonna watch this back and yeah, we're gonna look more into a lot of the text we didn't understand, of course. But this is the product of finding a lot of stuff and quickly presenting it. Axis volutarum. So this is volute axis. And canalis would, for me, imply that this is a channel and there's something like water or air going through this. And it's a compression to, yeah, create power. Not force, but power. Oh, this is Danish history, right? This is very weird. This is called The Massacre of the Danish. This is a single image I found as well on Gallica, and I haven't found the real source of this, or I cannot find any information on this, but it's basically in 1002. The Massacre of the Danes in Denmark. And look at the Danes. They look like Greeks. What are these guys? They look like Prussians. And look, they're wearing togas. And look, Greek temples. Huh?
1002.
And 1002. And look, great ship. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Huh.
Please, if this is a fantastic tale from some book, let me know. But what I found another picture from this book, and it showed a druidic scene, which was historical. So I'm basically just juxtaposing this picture to that and concluding this, or not concluding, but at least inferring that this. Maybe that was a synonym. Sorry, but I'm making a claim that this could be real. Okay, okay, guys, look at this. What are you seeing?
Rocks.
This is a Kircher book, right?
Zoom in a tiny bit. There we go.
Okay, so if I read the text, Campia anthropomorphos, what would that imply?
That's a human. They're on a human.
They are on a human. This is the ear. This is the eye. This is the chin. And Kircher is calling this a petrified giant.
Oh, that is nice.
So Kircher is doing the research we're doing right now, just 400 years ago.
Gulliver's Travels may be dark if there's a sequel.
Fee, fo, fi, fum.
Gulliver's Corpse House.
But yeah, Cambia anthropomorphos. This is just a titan, and yeah, Kircher is a badass. And look how his hair. This would be his hairline. I don't believe that this is petrified hair, but he certainly make it look like this was his beard and this was his hair, right?
It's crazy.
And they even made like this little thing for the ear. And this is a volcanic subterranean eruption causing mud flood. Can you see that? It doesn't come from one of the high hills. It just comes from the plain land, erupting from down under.
That's
and it just spreads.
That's an 8 square mile expanse of volcanic field that went up in the 1700s, and yeah,
you can see the result. This is, of course, I'm not sure if this is lava or warm mud,
steam.
But I think this is lava.
It's steam, and you're looking at hot mud.
Hot mud, yeah.
Just at the time here. And then on the right, you see those two shooting straight out. That's geyser effect on the far right.
Geyser effect. So if you remember what we were talking about, the Great Athanars, right? But yeah, we haven't considered that the mud flood, when it flooded a city, right? You could if you're just putting some time on this, you could envision that this is just spreading out until it reaches the city, right? And it probably doesn't have too much of a speed going on, but it may be scalding hot.
And it's going to poison the air for miles and miles around.
Yeah.
Those people.
Yeah. So it's not funny. So this could very well be what happened to flat Denmark and flat Holland and flat Germany. In terms of mud flood.
We got a big old volcano in the Wadden Sea in Netherlands.
Oh, out in the sea?
Yeah.
Wow. That could very well be the culprit of what happened to your land or our land. But yeah, this is an amphitheater, right? But look at these inlets. I don't know what they are. They're definitely not for spectatorship. This just seems not as a theater. It seems to me like a fortification because of these round parts. I'm not sure that all theaters are theaters. Some of them could be fortifications of another kind. Look at this schematic here. Doesn't look like a theater to me, but I could be wrong. Oh, aerial globe. I showed you this. World's Fair, St. Louis, screwed subliner, and a huge aerial globe. And I'm just going to show you some more because this was the city in the clouds. And I talked about how these aerial globes are heliocentric programming. And this is an old exposition like art piece mounted in the middle of the street. And you see electricity being gathered, or at least being attracted to it. And you have an angelic character on top of the terrestrial sphere of the Phoenicia bullshit plan. So this has to do with heliocentric programming. And my point was that they create something very beautiful to associate your first sight of the sphere with. This is a must for them in order to start their massive interest in this theory. They had to create something so spectacular that by association with this new theory, it would get stuck into your mind. It would be imprinted so hard. Also, considering that you didn't have too many commercials going on this time, I guess such an impression such as this would be very powerful. As if you're thinking PR magic, this is it.
It's funny how the horizon is still flat.
It's funny how still water always finds its level. It's just funny. Oh, this is Antarctica, and they're watching Southern Lights. They're called Aurora Australis. So not they're pretty. It's funny, right? This is Antarctica. Nice. And they call them Boreal. They should be Australis. So yeah, I don't know if the lingo changed. This is also up is down. Yeah. This is more of Antarctica, and you have atmospheric phenomena going on. Some would also call this comet activity, or have called this comet activity. But Terre du Guillaume, somewhere in Antarctica, and looks like a ruined archway. I thought I had more. I have some more coming. Okay, this is natural power harnessing.
Time, but we are 1 hour and 45 minutes in. Something. Yeah. Like that.
So I'm also hurrying up. Okay, this I have to just quickly mention because I shown these, right, and there's a story going on right now that there's an artist created these and put them on the internet, and somebody photoshopped this bike into the old medieval book. And this claim was made without producing a analysis of how the Photoshop conclusion was made. So it's just a claim, but the artist exists, and he also claims to have this is his artwork, and you can find the exact same thing in that old book. So the conclusion of sheep people, they would say, so the conclusion is this is photoshopped in an old medieval book to cause sensation and stuff like that. But what is this then? Another Photoshop?
Is that from another book?
Yes. Is this another Photoshop, I wonder, because this is just something they're claiming to save their asses, it sounds like. And that artist, I don't know, I would like to look more into him and actually perhaps private message him and ask him if he can swear on the Bible that he made these. No, I'm kidding.
Show me your sketches.
Yeah. But yeah, I would like to hear from him personally what he thinks about all this and whether he actually did Photoshop or he knows of this. But even if this example is a Photoshop sensation hoax story, we still need to explain this one. So this is another medieval book.
That's a little less elaborate than the ones that the artists make.
Yeah, but still, you have the idea of even a bicycle shouldn't be around. So don't laugh. It's serious. Mercury balls. Yeah. Oh, flying bridge. This is like
Lever bridge.
This is in the end of the 1700s. Look at that. Look at that. Just look at that. And in the same book, right? Like half a rainbow rising on your shore, while its twin partner spans the over, and makes a perfect whole that need not part till time has furnished us a nobler art.
Oh, wow.
It was big enough to let all the ships of that time sail under.
Yep.
Basically, and until time has furnished us a nobler art, they're saying this'll do for now.
Yep. This will do for now. Yeah.
That's pretty much the best we can make right now.
And it's just an architectural wonder that I feel we should hear about. I know we're short on time. This is a gas station. Gas coming up here, and this is a more modern gas station. This was actually reported in the photograph of this. This is a gas station.
Oh, shit.
It's an ancient gas station. This is a gas station. And it carries same atmospheric electricity gatherer, regardless of it being a gas station, reportedly. So.
Oh, yeah, the people working there needed some light.
Yeah. And you could imagine that these are hollow and carrying gas. Like pillars are technology. Oh, are we back? No, that cannot be true. Okay. Castlevania.
I remember this one.
You remember this one, yeah. So we see giants at Castlevania. And this is a painting you can find in when you walk into the entrance of Castlevania. This is hanging on the side of the entrance. Everybody sees this going into Castlevania as a tourist, and it's just right here. Massive giants, even on the boats, and it's just amazing. Castlevania in the 1600s, and all the Renaissance-looking people you see in the paintings could be these guys, like 10 meters tall, because this wall is like. These could be giants, and these could be titans. I'm saying this wall, I remember walking here, if it's the same wall, it's very tall. And they're like juxtaposed with it being nearly the same size. But it could be an exaggeration. But there's no doubt that this is not a perspective issue. These are giants.
What is the name of that ship on the bottom right?
El Marqués
de Santa Cruz?
Yeah, El Marqués de Santa Cruz.
Huh. I read the Santa Cruz part, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Los moriscos embarcados en Denia. Los moriscos. What is los moriscos? The Moors? No. They embark in Denia. No, okay, wait. Yeah, let's move on. More giants in Brussels. This is the same thing going on. I would guess this is the same ratio that we're seeing. Hotel de Ville in 1600s as well, if I remember correctly. And yeah, look at these. And this is a giant baby. This is a giant baby. This is a giant.
We see that difference.
It's a giant baby. And the giant babies are like taller than the small adults. It's just so funny. And yeah, I love this depiction. There's so much going on with this Hotel de Ville. And yeah, this is giants. Google this picture. It will come up on Google.
It's a ridiculous building to build for people that are starving to death and killing each other all the time.
This is where I wanted to perhaps end this, because I feel so much that pillars are... Forget the 5 orders of pillars. Forget them. These are iron pillars.
Mhm.
And they reproduce the style. You even have modillions on them on the artwork. But you could clearly see that there's something going on. It has a container here, like a siphoning pump would have, right? And it has containers here as well. And here it's corkscrewed, and I feel these are hollow inside, as I can show you on many pictures. And I feel, like John Levy, that the cannons are perhaps repurposed pillars. This is a pillar, right? Look, it's hollow inside, and this is a cannon, and they are juxtaposed here. Isn't that neat? And look how you can see the gears here, and yeah. I would imagine these can turn as well, rotate, as John Levi has suggested. But this is an architectural pillar, and this is a cannon, and they juxtaposed. It's in Russian, so I have no clue, but there's more of it. Look, this is a cannon.
Yeah.
This is a cement mixer, I would think. Can you see, guys? And you know how the cannons have those knobs on the end? That could very well be for like sticking them in to make them turn.
You remember that that thing I showed you on casting, where 2 men could cast something out of mud and plaster?
Yeah.
That looks exactly like that device. Right there. Remember I showed the video, they were casting the balustrades and the pillars.
Yeah, that's the color video. That's not even old stuff.
Wow, that's interesting. Because I would guess then that they use cannons for casting. Wow.
Well, yeah, just that's like I was saying with the last cannons you showed with Andreas in here. Those cannons were cast out of single pieces.
Yeah. And look here, Nathan, how the pillars here hollow, and they're mounted on these are also hollow. So you could see how they were carrying water or steam or gas.
Yeah.
Right? It's right here.
Wild.
And this is a mud-flooded temple. Here's ground level.
Wise Up was right about that. We gotta stop saying mud-flooded.
Yeah, sorry.
That was a what should we catastrophe? I mean, it's a post cataclysm temple.
Yeah, it's a buried temple. and look how the pillars are biomimicking trees, right? We know this. But what do trees carry within them?
Water.
Yeah.
Water and electricity, minerals and nutrients, nitrogens.
Yeah. They go up and down here. So pillars, trees, and cannons. And this cannon doesn't have a knob on it. It's just I don't think this is sealed off. Just hollow all the way through, I would guess. And look how this can be screwed in. I just feel this is these are pillars. And these are, iron pillars, and they couldn't show these to the people, so they had to take these specific iron pillars down, and they repurposed them as cannons. Look at that. It could be like they have so many different parts of them that you could put them together as Legos, screw them, fasten them together like with what's it called? And here, more of the same tech.
Casting boxes.
Yeah, underground, on the basis of houses and such. We all suspected it, but it's nice to see, right?
Well, there's your waterworks in the walls.
Yeah.
That's
Look at this. Is this cannon like what? How does this work? Being screwed into like this?
Scroonin, not a cannon.
Yeah, I don't at all see these as weapons anymore necessarily.
oh shit! Giant beer mugs.
What's the sound?
What sound?
Oh, it stopped. It was a funny sound. But
I was closing a sliding glass door very slowly.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, this is awesome. I don't know if this is electricity or incandescent lights, but it's so cool though. So it's very early. You can see that by
Electric Torchlight Procession, New York.
Oh, it doesn't say like. Oh yeah, it does. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
Look at the top. They're all holding the same band, allowing for electricity to pass through them and light the bulb. That's that's pretty cool.
And don't they look like the? Could you imagine that the Prussian knobs on the helmets could be kind of the same thing? Perhaps.
Could be.
But that would be stupid in war, right? Because light the bulb and here am I, shoot me. But it could very well be useful in like caves and diving.
Or in a black miasma sky.
Oh yeah, also that. But yeah, look at this. It's just beautiful nonetheless. And okay, yeah, leaning towers. Are they intentionally built to lean? Or not?
Liquefaction.
You think so?
I do. I don't know. Changed my mind. I'm open.
Here at least we have a leaning tower with a base that is level. And this is not level. So at least this guy built the specific tower to be intentionally leaning.
Well, there we go. That's weird.
And the idea
That's
is
something to think about.
then you can pull up stuff from an angle, but I don't buy that. And they say the same thing about the Pisa. It's just, oh my god. I hate not having any clue, but I don't have any clue.
Maybe when he built it, he was only wearing one shoe.
Yeah, stop it, Nathan. Just stop it. Okay, this is like this is a Russian guy, and this is called the Magic Lantern. And basically, it's just unexplained what this is, but it's a magical lantern, and it lights up somehow. Oh, Starfort mines. These are Starforts. They're hydraulic, right? And Minen. And what is very interesting, right, is... Oh, don't do this now. Don't do this now. So it is going to do that. Oh my god. You see this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These are the exact spots you would place the cannons.
Yep.
And they go down here. You can see here as well. So remember that they are mounted on the bastions like this, and they are here shown to be some shaft down to the mines on these bastions. So I just again
the dotted lines would indicate subterranean passage beneath the moat.
And they would come up right to the spot where the cannons are. Which is interesting, right? Because why would you mount cannons on these inlets? Or, were they part of the mechanism? Is that why they're coming steam out of the cannons on all the old pictures whilst no war is going on? Is this really it?
So a fortress of industry, and these cannons are bleed off. They're smokestacks.
They basically perhaps chimneys of a sort, and they need to. I don't know why you would need to have the smoke come out in that direction, but But these are huge mines, and so yeah, Starford's
away from
mining.
the city.
Yeah, these are the Spanish. This is a Spanish archive, and it holds a lot of knowledge. This is a tower, and here it carries an oil lamp. You can read where does it say? I think it's a embudo para llenar de aceite. So that is to fill with oil, and that is here. That is the filler of oil, and this is a oil lamp, a giant oil lamp. But not to disappoint you guys, because it does have this antiquity check thing on it as well, and this is made of bronze. It is said. So why would you have a bronze ball over an oil lamp? Huh. I would think that this is for the inside illumination only, and this is for the outside, but I could be wrong. I don't know why you would have a bronze ball up here. I definitely could see why you would have an oil lamp in here, but a bronze ball up here, I'm not sure.
There was undoubtedly a time where they forgot how to use these things, and so repurposed them. So that oil lamp could be a repurposing.
That could very well be, because this is in the 1700s, so that could be post-repurpose times. And you see here's a chapel, and they used the chapel to... Maybe this was part of the original use for churches, not only to gather electricity, but also have huge halls wherein you could carry hydraulic presses in and have them use the space to actually do mechanical stuff, right? That would make sense.
Vast oil rigs.
Well,
that's funny.
That could very well be also. You have to think about resources. Here is a cannon being lifted. So this could also be a temporary lift built inside the chapel to move heavy stuff around. But this one, I feel like this was standing there for some time. I don't know. Yep, this is a ferry. So not like a ferry, but a fair. Sorry, a fair. In the 1784. So yeah, antiquity devices and early exposition like things going on already here. Also from the Spanish archive. Huge raft.
Look at that barge. That's crazy.
Yeah, crazy barge. And look at the towers on the barge. And Martin has shown that huge barge from St. Malo, which carried 15,000 men, and it had like windmills like on each of the corners, which would power.
It's better than the rowboat tugboats they're using there.
Yeah, but these were basically standing on side this raft of St. Malo and would power it down in the water. So the wind would power this, which would power a wheel in the water. So, and they were huge. And here you have your steam cookers. It's just, look at the detail. And it's just, I'm lost for words when I see stuff like this.
That one, I remember this one.
Yeah.
Did you put color to this?
No, I'm not a master at illumination. But yeah, I'm not gonna say too much because there's not too much to say. It's just amazing, some of it. And also I wanted to get to this, Nathan, because this was the find of today. And the pyramids are arcs. And they are basically built like large towers in the ground, and the top have that spear pointer, and beneath it there is a huge underground subterranean city where you have sanctuaries, as it says, like it says large apartment here, and here it says sanctuary, and it says stopper, which was weird. And Elke Leonhard, shout out to her. She asked whether this was like a flood stopper. So if you had like something went wrong, they had an inner chamber that, and you could have this flood stopper in it to stay alive, or to perhaps keep some of the most important artifacts safe.
It's called the Sanctuary.
It's called the Sanctuary, yeah. So there's no doubt about it.
But here's the thing: even when we look into the past, and this is what first struck me as strange.
Like that stopper.
That stopper doesn't fit. Not only that, but the people who discovered it are naming it as they go. So sanctuary, apartment, stopper, they're just guessing.
I agree.
Those are guesses. So I'm still thinking about what this is.
Okay, it's okay. But for now, the arc theory is very promising.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm coming to the end right now. Okay, yeah. This was I wanted to. Oh my God, why does this happen? No, not like. Okay. So the Apennine, the Colossus of Apennine.
Yeah.
Which Roger from Mud Fossil University thinks is a mud fossil, and I'm here to tell you, no, Roger, you are mistaken. This is not a mud fossil.
Done with Roger.
This is a smooth cast statue, I would say. Could be wrong about the casting, but it's definitely not chiseled, and it's definitely not a mud fossil. So you cannot have petrified hair like this, as Wisup pointed out. And you cannot replicate this in a mud fossil experiment. I would urge anyone to try. Roger, you go do that. I'll pay you $10,000. This cannot be replicated, so this is not a mud fossil. But you can also see he was a part of a fountain.
You probably see a lot of whacking on a screen going on, and not a lot of proof.
Perhaps. But history reports this was a statue mounted on a fountain, and something happened to the fountain to make it go smashed in first instance, while the rock remained smooth. I'm not even going to show you a regular picture of this guy as it is today, because most people have seen it. So I just wanted to focus on when he's smooth. So yeah.
At current day, he sort of sits at ground level, right?
He does.
Yeah.
Oh, something happened to it.
Oh no, I guess it's around here right now. And something also happened from here, because you cannot see the head anymore. The head is gone from the fountain, and he is completely like
covered in something.
Covered in something, yeah. And here you have another, like, such as this is another statue.
That's Treebeard.
Look, the size of Treebeard.
Treebeard is huge.
And remember the Macedonian stone giant of Mount Athos? It's the same thing. Is this even water? This is a subterranean round fort. Or submerged round fort, sorry, not subterranean. And they are salvaging it after the flood, I would guess.
With a lit pyramid.
Yep, yeah, electrical lighting to... this is electrical. I have stamps on these. These are electrics. So unless they build a round fort down here during the 1800s, this is a submerged older structure. Oh, this is the conclusion, guys. This is mud flood.
Where have I heard that before?
And maybe this is when we should stop calling it mud flood. But it kind of is and kind of is not. So I will show you what's going on with this pig. Sudden enormous eruption of mud on the island of Taman off the shores of Great Tartary, beginning 27th of February, 1791. Look at this. This is a giant mud volcano. I don't think the picture is doing it justice. and I'm sad that we don't have a better quality pick. I have somewhere. I will definitely start. I will start here next time from where I left with this and talking more about this. So this is just, I'm gonna leave it here. And Nathan, if you want to talk, I'll let you talk now. Sorry.
I'm gonna have to look into Taman.
Yeah, Taman.
Where is this airing right now?
This program is coming to you via Relay 2 satellite, a spacecraft orbiting the Earth at a speed of over 17,000 miles per hour.
Xirtus.